Hi everybody, welcome to this video about sketching on paper, and I want to start with making some thumbnails. So in this video I want to draw a building and show how to draw perspective on paper. But first I try to make some designs that I can use for the final drawing. So what I would recommend is, and maybe this is a fun assignment, is to first doodle some buildings in your sketchbook or on your paper. This is also how I often prepare a drawing. So first I make these little drawings, and then I pick the design I like the most. So here, doodle this. Drawing here some small details. I don't want to go too much in details now because these are just some thumbnails for some ideas. So yeah, maybe this is really simple, but that doesn't matter. I just try to start. And that's also what I notice a lot, and I also have that thing, is that when you are I get a lot of the questions how to learn this or learn that, and a lot of times I would just suggest, if you want to learn how to draw environments, start drawing and fill a page with some quick doodles, and just start and make mistakes and learn from that. And then after you fill that page, you can analyze it, and then you can think of, oh, what can I better do next time? Instead of thinking the whole time what you want to draw and then never start. So I really like that slogan of that famous company, just do it. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Just start. Just start drawing. And of course, if you're starting right away, yeah, of course you can draw right away a character or a building or whatever, but maybe you can, but most of us can't. And but yeah, it wouldn't been fun if it was so easy, right? So yeah, just start with drawing some doodles. Be a bit rough, maybe be a bit more rough than I'm here. So here I'm doodling some buildings, and I always like to start with some big shapes. So maybe let's start make here a bigger shape. So something like this. Here I do have a little bit of an idea what I want to draw, but only really fake. So when I'm drawing, I don't have a clear picture of what I am going to draw. I just have a fake idea of what I'm going to draw, and then I just start, and then I see where it goes. I see this tower, think, oh, that's interesting, let's add another tower here. So I just try to be really playful, and maybe when you're starting out right away, this would be really hard. What I then would recommend is go to the internet and try to find some reference images. For example, some old European houses or something, or a different subject you're going to draw. So here, and yeah, you can also, if you want, you can also study these houses, try to follow along, maybe pause the video, maybe and try to draw these things. So here, let's add this here, then here, let's add some details, not too much. I think it's really important for this one. Here, let's add this part here. So maybe it's on the middle of this roof, so that would mean this here. So this doesn't have to be a final image, so it can be rough. I don't need to clean it up. The next image I want to make really cleaned up. So here, drawing this here, then maybe adding a line here, then a line here. Maybe there's a door of a window here, maybe it's a window here, maybe there's a door here, maybe there is this thing here, something like this. It's going down, and yeah, maybe something like this, maybe some rocks, or it's on top of a hill or something. And yeah, this maybe start to get really detailed for a thumbnail, but that's also okay, right? Maybe after this one we can make a simpler one again. And so yeah, try not to be too hard for yourself in this stage. Just play around. You can always after you finish this one, you can always try something else and learn from your mistakes. And especially when you're starting out, I would recommend on learning the techniques and skills to draw these things. For example, how to draw a box first. And maybe that sounds really dull, but it's really important. So first draw a box, then we're drawing some kind of pyramid shape here, like this here, then here, and then you have the shape here. So maybe learn some perspective, because that also helps you understand these drawings. So you don't see me draw every perspective line, or any actually, but I do think about it when I draw these things. Or maybe I'm not even thinking about it, but because I've done it so much, yeah, you will start doing it automatically. So here, and maybe here's a window, here's a window, here's a window, here's a window. And I don't try, I think it's fun that it's not super super clean. It can be quite messy, these kinds of yeah, it doesn't have to be all super correct, because it's an old house and it's cartoony style. So here maybe, I think this is enough for what I want to do here. Maybe try to draw a house like this here. Maybe try to be a bit bolder here, because I'm not making final images. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to draw next. So here's a thing. Here's a window. Here's a window. Here's maybe this dorm. Maybe there's a side building here. Maybe there's this chimney. So see how quick I draw here. That's just to doodle and to get some ideas. Especially when these thumbnails, maybe try to be really rough and really try to get some fun ideas. So here, maybe I want to draw something here like this. Then here we have this door like this, and then we have this here. Then let's add here these things. So I'm just doodling really freely, and then after this I'm going to be more precise. I'm just trying to have fun and get some fun ideas. And the interesting thing is, when you draw these thumbnails quite quickly, you get these energetic drawings, and you also want to maintain that when you make the final drawing. After I've done this one, then here, then here, then here, then there's this thing here, then here. Sorry for saying here and every time, but that's also when I'm drawing, I'm thinking all these things, and a line here and a line there. So I'm just stacking these shapes up, and then I could add more details to it, but yeah, I think it's fine. I think I know what I want to draw. So maybe that's also something for you. Try to just fill a whole page with different houses. Try to try to fill whole page like this, or maybe you study this one to get the right feeling. So if you're following these steps along, maybe you get the it can help you. Copying can help you get the feeling or get into my mind, what the mind process is, and then after that it will become a little bit more easier to do it on your own. You can also take these and try to mix them, or try to change the proportions to make your own buildings. So let's put this one on the side and put it somewhere where you can look at it. And now we can start working on the final drawing. So first I'm going to think, what am I going to draw? I want to draw this woodcutter's house on top of a hill, this high. And so I start at the top and the bottom, so I know the height, and then I start roughly drawing in some shapes. And I think about perspective, like there's this finishing point somewhere there, there's a finishing point there. So if you don't know much about perspective, I would recommend to learn perspective a little bit. And then the funny thing is, when you learn perspective, when you learn it, you don't have to think much about it anymore. Then you can start drawing more freehand. So start putting down some lines to get an idea what I want to draw. So here's I want to have here a wall, and here a wall, and here's the door. And I want to have that a kind of stair here. So this is going up like this here. Maybe it needs to be all a little bit smaller so it can fit on more. So here, maybe something like this here. So when I'm sketching, I start noticing some proportions I need to change. So this door, I think something like this. This goes here. This sticks out. Then there's this wall going here. I hope you can still follow along. So start really light. These lines are quite rough, at least rough for me. Some artists like to draw more rough, so don't feel bad when you're drawing a lot more rough than I am. I think that's actually good. So here, this thing here, I need not to focus too much on the details now. Maybe I want a line here. And then we have this here. So something like that, and then we have this roof thing here. So can I fit a chimney on it or something? Maybe. put it here. It's a little bit low, like this here. I do want to use that silhouette there. So maybe something like this here. So I could also erase this part and to make a piece like that, but let's work with the limits we have. That's also really good to work on paper. When you're working on digitally, you can always create a bigger canvas, and you learn a lot from this because you are forced to make, you are limited by the traditional tools you have. So here, maybe here's this wood thing. Then here we have this road, and maybe there's this this tree here. Let's draw a simple tree. So something like this here, and maybe there are some hills in the back. Maybe there's a sun and some clouds like this here. So now I have this doodle basically, and I can erase it. So what I like about this pencil is that you always have these erasers. What I don't like about it is that, yeah, maybe it's better to have pencils like this, because yeah, I'm not always using everything from these erasers. That feels a little bit like a waste. So here I'm erasing these lines. So like this here. So erase this here. And yeah, like this. And let's make the final drawing. So line like this here, and then there's this wood that goes here, and you see a little bit of the opening here. So this pencil point is now kind of blunt, but I do like it for these outlines. I want to have these lines a little bit thicker, so that works fine. So here, then drawing some lines. Oh. Going like this here. Let's draw this here. Maybe we look a little bit under it, so you would see something like this. Then I think this chimney is a little bit in the middle. I think I would have liked it more if it was here, but yeah, it's fine for now. Need to think about it the next time. And that's the thing with traditional paper. You can't, if I was working in Photoshop, I just select this part and then I move it a notch up. So sometimes I also even like to shade it already a little bit in, just a little bit. I'm not using a lot of shading. Yes, oh, there's no eraser, of course. So here, let's add these tiles, like this here, and this here. Maybe make some a bit darker. And like this. We make this darker. And add a line like here. Then here a line. And then some lines here. Is this correct? I don't know. Maybe I can make this a bit lower. So like this here. And what you can do to you can make a mood board of some things you find on the internet. For example, if you want to draw something like this, look up some old German house. You find all these little details. It's really cool to see all these little things. Really try to think about how is this stuff all constructed. So here there's this line going here. This part is going here. Then we have this part. And then we have some line going here. And I'm just going to fill all these shapes. So I'm building on top of those shapes I've built earlier. So it's basically like I've shown before in other tutorials. I start with this basic shape and then I just start to add shapes on top of that. Like you're working with a stone. And then you're cutting parts off or you're adding stuff, etc. So here. So now it's the pencil going to be a bit too blunt. So let's make it a bit sharper. And let's continue. Let's add here a shape. Then here a shape. And then let's do this here. Let's add a line here. And here, these parts, maybe first draw lines like this. And on top of these lines, we can start drawing in here these tails. And let's do a tail here in the middle. And then you can erase these lines between that, but that helps with maybe add some sketching really light lines like this here. So maybe something like this. You don't have to draw every tile in it, just a couple. You can also choose to make some wood. So here just draw some lines. I think it's cool that this house is built from all kinds of different materials. Wood, stone, so maybe here it is better. So maybe this is a little bit too rough, then yeah, simply erase it. And then draw on top of it. Then you can start adding these lines. So like this here. You can draw in here this shape. So when you've practiced drawing those boxes from different angles, that will really help with understanding how to draw these kinds of things. So here we have this shape. Now we can draw this door inside here. Like this, make this door here and this thing here. And here we're going to add the shape. So I'm just adding all these shapes on top of it. And maybe it looks, the house is a bit too blocky. We could make it more fluid, but especially when you're starting out, I think this is fine to start with a more block kind of shape house. It's a bit easier to draw in perspective. Again, this perspective isn't perfect, but especially for this style, that also gives it its charms, some kind of warmth. So here, maybe adding some here, so here, some steps like this here, and so like this. Let's add a line here. Then we have this wood here. Maybe we need an X here. So yeah, basically I just keep adding stuff and finishing things up and cleaning everything a little bit up. Let's, for example, clean this part a little bit up. So here we're adding this detail here. Then here maybe give it some shading like this, just a couple of lines next to each other, a little bit of cross hatching. Then here, and that's how I shade things. Super basic. I just hold my pencil like this, and then I just draw lines next to each other in one direction. And most of the time I keep it simple like this. You can also cross hatch, meaning you do add lines like this to make it a little bit darker to the opposite direction. But I'm not really much into that. So let's adding some lines here, some wood panels. And what you can do is look up in my sketchbook some drawings you like and try to break them down in these simple shapes and try to learn from it. And what I did here, this is also something you can do. First make those thumbnails and then start drawing in some thumbnails, some research, look on the internet on the subject you want to draw, maybe make a mood board. What I also sometimes did is when I was taking my sketchbook with me in the train, the night before it, I look up some images on the internet about the subject I want to draw and save them. And then the next day when I was in the train, I started drawing those, drawing the things I had prepared on the night before. Often first making those doodles first, and then after that the final drawing. Or sometimes I use those sketches to make the final drawing on my computer. So there are a lot of different ways that could work. I think the most important thing is just start drawing, just to start doing stuff. So you can follow along my tutorials, and it will help you understand how to draw different things. And maybe it helps you start drawing, because drawing can be really intimidating. But once you start, that's one of the hardest steps, or that could be one of the hardest steps. So here, drawing this cloud here, drawing another cloud here, drawing here this one here, and then we have this drawing, and you can start adding in some details, like here this wood texture, like this here, and Maybe you can make some dark tiles here and there. Maybe make this a little bit dark. Here's the window. Here's this part. And this part. So maybe make here this space between the planks. Maybe shade this a little bit. And yeah, decide for yourself how much shade you want. Just experiment with stuff, try different stuff out, and see what works for you. Maybe make this a little bit darker. This shade. Maybe you want to add some shadow. So here's the sun. So meaning there's some shadow here. Maybe you want to add some shadow here on this tree. Like this here. And then we've created this little house. Maybe here adding some stones between, and maybe you want to clean it up and make it more neatly, or maybe you want to make a digital drawing of it after this. You can also scan it in and finalize it on the computer, paint it, etc., or you can erase the drawing again and make everything more neater. Yeah, whatever your goal is. I think that the most, for me, drawing on paper is always practice. So I practice these kinds of things to get more confident with using shapes and different designs. And then when I'm working digitally, I always make more finished drawings. But you can also make finished drawings on paper with pencil. You can, again, what I said, erase this drawing and make it, clean it up really, final lines, etc. Or make as I do. I like to draw a little bit rough on paper. So there's no good and right with drawing. So the most important thing is to have fun, and by practicing a lot and having fun, you will keep growing and growing. So thanks for watching.